You have to understand that this dog is not human. It does not speak the language you speak. It does not deal with issues the way you deal with. And that's what makes him the unconditional lover that you appreciate. But you can't then, on the other hand, say, no, you're not human, because so now I'm going to hold that against you.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of For the Love of Dog. I'm here with a fan favorite, Mr. Gary, and Mike. Hey, Gary, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Steve, how's it?
Good. You almost got the mohawk back. I'm loving it.
It's coming back into a narrower and narrower.
It's that time of year, right? So today we want to talk about, this is going to be a quick one. I think it's actually my favorite topic of all time, but oddly enough, we've never addressed it on the podcast. And in my opinion, it's the number one reason why dogs end up at a shelter across the nation. I don't have any statistics to prove my point. This is based on my experience. Although I don't have any math to prove it's the number one reason why dogs wind up in a shelter, there's a lot of data that supports what I'm saying as far as indirect data, meaning there's all sorts of studies on why dogs bite out of fear. And what I'm getting at is when you're dealing with a dog that is continually biting, it normally means it's a very intelligent dog and it's a very stubborn dog. And this is the way dogs deal with saying, hey, I'm not going to do that. That's a warning. So today, what I want to talk about, I want to flip it over to Gary in just a little bit. What I want to talk about specifically is why dogs, get nervous, what we can do to show the dog that we are the leader and prevent these type of bites. Now, having said all that, this is the net of what I want everyone to take away from today's podcast. The problem with nice humans is they treat the dog as if they're raising a child. In other words, when we raise children out of instincts, we want our children to be independent, right? That's our true essence of why we raise children, is they need to get along with themselves, with others, and contribute to society. And when mom and dad pass, they are independent. They can take care of themselves. Okay. The problem is, as human beings, if we use this same parental energy on the dog, we are always going to fail. Why? Because we're training children to be independent. We need to train dogs to be dependent. Now, why does all this matter? Well, if you hop online, within 20 seconds, you can find any video where the owner approaches the dog as if they're raising a child with this loving, caring energy, and they get bit. And human beings tend to think, oh my God, I have a horrible dog because all I'm doing is coming at the dog with this loving energy and I'm getting bit. So, Gary, I'm going to toss this over to you, and I want you to kind of expand on that and from your experience in science. And by the way, let me back up a little bit. The whole point of our podcast, when Gary and I are speaking, is coming at this from science, biology, why dogs do the stupid things they do, and what humans can do to tap into what dogs need so that this shit doesn't happen. So, Gary, what do you think about what I said? And I want you to kind of expand about, why this energy doesn't work.
I think that's a problem that we see a lot in all of the dog behaviors that we try to fix for other people's dogs, especially. It's that people aren't approaching the dogs, talking the dog's language. They're trying to approach the dog by talking to it in a human language, using human emotions. The dog does not always understand those. The dog definitely doesn't understand, a lot of the non-spoken, nonverbal communication, body language, a lot of the stuff that we use to put things into context. Dogs have a very basic rule of thumb: survive. So when you're coming in, you're like, all I want to do is love this dog. I just met this dog at an adoption event. I'm going to squat down. I'm going to jam my hand in its face for a split second. And then I'm going to come right in. I'm going to kneel down in front of it. I'm going to lean over it. I'm going to hug it. I'm going to grab it by the neck. All these signs that are telling the dog, this person's getting ready to attack me. And then the dog, out of nowhere, comes and attacks the person, bites them viciously. No, you attacked the dog and the dog went into fight or flight and defended itself.
Right. That's right.
So
And
ultimately it comes down to that. You have to know you have to watch the dog. We've seen tons of videos where we'll have a person and we're just sitting there waiting. This is going to end in a bite. This is going to end in a bite. We're watching the dog send all the signs that this is not going well. And the person is completely ignoring it. Oh, they're licking their lips and their ears are back. That must be their calm. No.
right. Right. Yeah, I want to reiterate with Garrett what he just said. These are signs that dogs are nervous. Licking their lips. Okay, as human beings, we wouldn't think that it's another human's licking their lips if they're nervous, but that's what dogs do. Also, in this particular situation, when dogs are licking their lips and the ears are back, that's a bad sign the dog's going to mess up. And by that, I mean, the dog didn't mess up in their world. The dog's doing what dogs do. But the dogs
Surviving.
mess up in our world, meaning we're going to get bit. Now, the example that I really wanted to bring up, and unfortunately, they took the video off of LinkedIn, is this owner. Really, really quickly, we can all imagine this scenario. Imagine if you're a very caring, loving human, you're a parent, and you just got this dog, and the dog, this is a German Shepherd. The German Shepherd fell asleep on the couch. Okay, step one, this person just got the dog, and the human's already laying the dog on the bed. Okay, that's first wrong thing. We're not going to talk about that. That's another discussion. Step two, this very sweet father, man, who also has kids, he has a blanket for the dog. And the dog's asleep, and this nice human thinks, oh, this poor dog must be cold. I'm going to put the blanket on the dog. Now, again, let's break this down. Any sweet human being, man or woman, that cares about animals in general is going to humanize the animal probably and think, oh, this animal's cold. It wasn't cold, but it's very sweet. So the guy takes the blanket and goes to cover the dog. And as he's doing it, the dog wakes up very quickly and bites the human. Okay, now here's the problem. In the dog's defense, the dog doesn't know what's happening. Like Gary's saying, no animal likes anyone to come over their head. That in their world, especially, this is an act of aggression. Also, the man's holding a blanket. The dog doesn't know what the hell a blanket is.
You're trying to trap me.
Yes, exactly. So put your place where the dog is in that moment. Okay, you don't know anything right now. It's a new home. I'm nice and cozy on my couch, and here's this thing trying to take my couch away, and on top of that, trying to envelop me with something I don't know what the hell's going on. This is how dogs communicate. It was a bite. Now the man gets bit pretty badly. Okay. Now here's the problem. The guy's been bit. Next day, almost the same scenario. The dog's awake, but he's on the couch, and the man very gingerly tries to pet the dog. Okay, now here's the problem. The guy again is trying to do something sweet, but now he's nervous, and therefore, Gary, what chemical is the man going to give off now that he's scared?
I
Okay,
mean, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What's that?
I,
Oh,
I mean,
we
he's
give
giving
off
off all kinds.
cortisol.
Yes, he's giving off cortisol in
Right,
probably measurable doses, but
right,
he's giving the dog all the signs, the physical signs. In addition to giving it the sense that the dog's telling you that I'm nervous, the guy is my dad had a parrot when I was young, a red-faced parrot named Peanuts. And if you came in tentatively to Peanuts to try to pick Peanuts up, Peanuts would bite your finger every time. If you just
right,
reached in and pumped that dog in the stomach with your finger, the bird would step on your finger every time. And that's where
right,
I learned. Don't
right,
hesitate. If you seem
right.
confident, the dog will buy you're confident. If you seem
Right.
like you're nervous, that bird's going to get you every single time. So that's
And
the scale that they use.
right. And so now he's doubly screwed because not only is he still being sweet and parental, now he's scared. He's giving off cortisol and adrenaline. chemicals that dogs know, okay, this animal is scared. And when dogs smell it, they think, okay, there's something wrong with you. You're scared. Now, 2 reasons I need to bite this human. And of course, he bites him again badly. Now, and we're kind of laughing. It's not funny. But the thing is, these are communications to other animals. It was not an attack. The German Shepherd didn't bite and what we call ragdoll and not let go. It was a bite. It's a communication. And, Gary works in the medical field. He knows about biology. He knows a lot about human nature. And he knows how to use that knowledge with the dog. So, Gary, walk us through teaching Gary's also a parent. And when he wants to be, he can be the sweetest human on earth. But I want you to walk through the difference on how you approach a child and how you approach a dog to be
Well, I think
successful.
that yes, I think that you hit the nail on the head. The core thing is the context, and that you're trying to teach a kid to be independent. When it's your kid, you're trying to teach your kid to be independent. So you're going to teach them the basics of how to be a good person, and then you're going to try to expound on that into decision making and all of that things that they need to make as they get older and older. For dogs, your whole goal is to make them dependent. Your
Right.
goal is to make them know that everything they love in life comes from you.
Right.
So your food, your walks, your affection, everything you want comes from me. So in the dog world, that's why a dog is good with their alpha, because the alpha is the provider to the pack. If you want to eat, if you want to sleep with the group and stay warm, if you want to do anything besides get your ass attacked, then you better stay right by the pack.
Right.
And so that comes
Now,
back to what I said, talking the dog's language and
yeah.
dealing with a dog with dog behavior is going to be a lot more successful than trying to treat the dog like it's a little person in a fursuit.
Well, let me ask you a question. I feel embarrassed. I should know this, but were you a dog person and had dog knowledge before you became a parent?
Yes, I started my own company. I had always worked with dogs. My first
Yeah.
job from the time I was 10 was a dog walker for a pet store. So I'd
Okay.
always worked for dogs, with dogs all the way through high school, and I put myself through college doing it. But
Oh,
in 2002, the same year that my son was born, was when I opened Paws Are Made for Walk-In. So
well, let me
since
ask.
he was born, yep.
Yeah. Well, let me ask this was, and I want you to be honest. I know you will be. Was it hard for you to transition, or did it come naturally to you that when your beautiful son was born and you were raising him, were you able to be intuitive that I shouldn't treat this child like I'm training a dog?
It was
Uh,
hard. It was not intuitive at all. I tried to teach him like a dog. He's lucky he didn't get a neck poke and be put in a prong collar. No, absolutely.
uh,
My instinct was always
really?
and still to this day,
Yeah.
I am a manager for the ambulance company that I work for, and I deal
Right.
with a lot of 20 something kids. And
Yeah.
my instinct is to still treat people like dogs. Sorry.
Well, no, I'm glad you're honest because I had the opposite problem because I really, I come from dog behavior training the opposite way. I find the science fascinating, and before I got the education, I made the mistake because I was a parent first before I got a dog. And unfortunately for us, we got our very first dog was a big dog, intelligent and stubborn, the worst combination on the world that you can have, especially as a first time dog owner. And I wound up in the hospital because I treated the dog like I'm trying to raise a child. Uh, the thing that I've learned from you and I've learned from the science is that's never going to work. Now, Gary and I have talked about this before. If the DNA is really perfect, you're going to meet some dogs that you can do everything wrong. And his dog is so dialed in that they're just going,
Bulletproof.
yeah, yeah. And that's what we all want in essence. But that's not normally the case. And again, I'm going to get back to why dogs wind up in the system, aka the shelter, is because of this lack of knowledge. In that I'm going to get this dog. I'm going to raise it as I've raised my children. Um, and then you get bit multiple times, and then you come to the conclusion, and I get it why humans would come to the conclusion, I have a messed up dog. And therefore the only answer is to, give it to the shelter or to put it to sleep, not realizing that your approach is wrong, that you were not talking dog language. If you had to shoot the cuff, Gary, would you agree with me that you think most of the dogs that wind up at shelters is because of this facet, or do you think it's something else?
No, I think it's this. It's probably, I mean, more broadly defined, I would say that people have an unrealistic expectation that they're moving an animal into their home and that this animal is going to somehow be a small human and that it's going to fit these rules that we have set as humans. But you have to understand that this dog is not human. It does not speak the language you speak. It does not deal with issues the way you deal with. And that's what makes him the unconditional lover that you appreciate. But you can't then, on the other hand, say, no, you're not human because so now I'm going to hold that against you.
Right.
That guy in your example, you said right off the bat, he was making mistakes before the dog bit him the first time. The new
Right.
dog on the bed, not setting boundaries. He's moving in on the dog while the dog's asleep. There's several issues there that you can see. So he gets bit. How does he correct that problem? By doing the same exact thing again.
Right.
It's going to be
Yeah.
different this time, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's again, I'm laughing. It's not funny because the poor guy gets the video is there's four videos of this poor guy getting bit every time. And every time the dog is on the couch. And I
Slow
think
learner.
yes, slow learner. And whenever and Gary, you know this, whenever we're adopting someone and you start explaining to people, when you get your dog gets absolutely no freedoms, none, zero. Leash stays on. Dog's not allowed on the couch. Dog's not allowed in your bed. Dog's not allowed to go wherever it wants. It has to stay in its bed until I release the dog. And people go, well, that's so cruel. I get it. I understand why people think it's cruel because we would never treat a child that way. But this is where you go, look, dogs are not humans. Dogs like these rules because they're learning if I abide the rules, then my alpha, aka the human, shares everything with me. Now, notice I used the word share. I didn't say give. And this is the key problem where people mess up. When we're raising children, we do give them things. We give them a bed. We give them clothes. We give them food. We're teaching them how to take care of their shit and teaching them how to survive on their own. With dogs, we use the word share. And why do we use the word share, Gary? Explain that in detail.
Well, I think that it comes from the aspect of we're sharing with the dog because we're in a pack. But I honestly don't use share because, like I said, from my perspective, I
Yeah,
give my dog everything. Everything my dog loves is mine. So
that's what I mean.
anything
That's
I
what I
give
mean.
him, I'll put his food down and I'll make him sit there and look at me. And he's still asking me for it. And then I'll release him and let him have his food. So,
Right.
when you're bringing a dog into a pack, it is more of a sharing environment that you're teaching the dog. Everybody thinks that these adoptions, these homecomings are just this great thing that this dog does not know that you didn't just white van kidnap him and bring him into your home. You
Yeah,
have
I
to make
hate
this.
it. I hate it when I see these videos and the dog's on the owner, brand new owner, and the caption is always the dog knows I saved his life. No, it has no clue.
No,
No.
hopefully, if everything's well, like you said, you get one of those bulletproof dogs, everything's great. The dog is nice and happy on day one. Believe me, I've never had one adoption of one dog that I brought home, including Huntington the puppy, that was
Yeah.
ever that way. The
No.
dog always came in nervous, needing to learn its place. And when I gave the
Right.
dog the structure and it learned its place, dog was a lot more comfortable. But
Yeah. And
going back to what you said, you know, when you bring a dog into your home in comparison to, bringing a kid into your home. So let's go apple for apples. We're not bringing a newborn home. We're bringing home a 2-year-old kid. So that's
right.
our average dog is a 2 to 3 year old mentality. So
Right.
we bring a 2 to 3 year old home. Are you going to bring that kid into your home and say, "Hey, welcome home. This is your new home. We have no rules. You can do whatever you want. You can go wherever you want. You can
Right.
touch whatever you want."
Right.
No, you don't do that. You bring the kid into your house and you say, "Hey, look, this is your house. Feel welcome and everything, but we have rules." But
Right.
those rules have to be spelled out differently to a dog who doesn't speak English, doesn't know human rules, does not
Right.
know any of the crap that we've got going in our lives. So
Right.
we have to break it down to the basic thing. We're going to start you on very limited freedoms. And then as you earn more freedoms, you will get more freedoms.
Right. That's absolutely right. And I guess the reason why I use the word share, I think that it's for me when I'm explaining this to someone, I'm literally like, okay, well, let me give you a great example. The one question I always get near the end of the adoption process is, okay, we're gonna go to the store. How many toys should we get for the dog? And I always laugh at this question because I hate the question because people look at toys for dogs the same way they do for toys for children. And so I go, okay, let me tell you the way it is at my house. Right now we have 3 dogs, and I'll ask the owner, the potential owner, how many toys do you think we have? And they'll say 6, 9, 12. I go, no, we have 1 toy. And I go, the toy belongs to me. And I'm going to play with my toy. And if you listen to me, I will share my toy with you. This is why I say share. And we're going to play with my toy. But with my toy, when we're done playing, my toy gets put up so that they understand that's my toy. It's not your toy. This is the difference between, raising children and dogs, the main one. And it goes for food, as you said earlier. It goes for space. Again, as long as you listen to me, I will share my universe with you. And this is what you're selling. You're selling to the human that you're trying to explain to the dog that I own the universe. And if you listen to me, I will share my universe with you and everything that it entails. Okay. Because dogs ultimately, they don't care if you're a prince or a pauper. Honestly, they don't care. They just want you. If you do your job right, they're only going to want you all the time. And they don't care where you go as long as you're together. And I could go on and on about this, but this is the key essence that people have to get over that hurdle. Do not treat the dog like a little human. It's an animal. It's a warrior. I don't care if it's a little beautiful little poodle that's fluffy and beautiful and cute. In its soul, it's a warrior. It doesn't know it's cute, and you have to treat it as such. This is where people mess up. And I get so cranky all the time because we go on and on about this. We teach our volunteers, we teach management, we teach adopters this facet. And I would say, I don't know what your percentage, Gary, I'll give you what you think the guess is, but to me, truly, if we're lucky, only 30% of all of it get it. I think it's a
Oh, yeah.
75%. What do you think? Failure rate. What do you think?
I mean, it depends on what percentage. Hit it to an acceptable level, I'd probably give them 50-50.
Yeah.
Do it well, 25%.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And the problem is, when someone wants what we call, like a bully breed or a dog that's intelligent and athletic, like a German Shepherd, any of the working breeds, again, any of the bullies,
Power
these are
breeds.
the dogs where you have to give us at least a B+ effort. A C effort, you're going to get hurt with some of these dogs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, the deal is that even if we give you, we've rehabilitated some dogs and made dogs great. But if you don't
yeah,
give those to the right people, don't think that those dogs aren't going to go right back to the way they were. Just because I'm successful to a dog, I've gone into 1,000, way more than 1,000 lessons. And in every one of those lessons that people are like, my dog is out of control. I'm like, yeah, I'm about to make you look bad because your dog isn't going to do any of that shit for me. But
right.
The same thing, you know, we can take these dogs, we can rehabilitate them, we can make them rock solid for us. We can pack walk them, we can do anything we want to them. We can grab them by the head, we can pull them by the tail, you know, anything. Then you get these person who comes in and they're not following all the other structured guidelines and they're trying to do these things and they're not going to be as successful with that. Everything is cumulative. Every rule that you break is cumulative.
It
So
is.
when we say don't let your dog walk in front, you're like, what's the damage of my dog walking in front? Well, your dog's now planted a seed, and that seed is
Right.
going to grow into something.
Yeah, I think I had the perfect analogy. Are you watching, and be honest, are you watching any of, well, I already know the answer because you don't watch TV, but it's the best documentary. It's Ken Burns' The American Revolution. Are you watching this at all?
No, but I have heard about it.
Yeah, you got to. Okay, so perfect line, and I think it's episode 4 or 5, and this woman who's writing a letter, and basically in the letter she's telling the founding fathers, please don't forget about women in the fight. We've done a lot. And she says, she puts it very eloquently, she says, if men left to their own accord, all men would be tyrants if they could be. And that is exactly right. That's a dog. If you don't put the flipping hammer down every day, that dog's going to go south. In the same way,
Yes.
you give any man too much power, they will be a tyrant.
Yeah, it's corrupting. Yes. No, that
You know,
most people don't get. I try to explain them. Your
Yeah,
dog is always going to try you till the time from the day you get it till the day that one of you die. Your dog is always going to try you. That's
right,
what they do. They're a pack animal. They're always trying to
right,
improve their position in the pack.
right,
So if you
right.
aren't holding structure and you aren't keeping the same standards and your dog doesn't believe you're the leader, just sit back. Your dog is going to challenge you for leadership at some point.
Yeah. That's why I always tell people, if you're a first-time dog owner, get a senior dog.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Get a senior
they're not,
lab.
they're done. Yeah, they're done. Like, I'm
Yes.
tired of fighting. I'm just gonna give up and love you, and it's fine. And then you kind
I'm
of learn a
telling you.
little bit, and then go the next one. But you know, again, we could do a deeper dive on this. But today, again, I just want to end it by saying, if there's like 3 things I want you to pick up on today's podcast, is learn how to be a leader in a different way. Be a leader in a way almost like at work. Don't make friends. Put rules down and make it clear what those consequences are going to be when you mess up. Don't lead with love. I'm a fan of Cesar Millan. What does Cesar Millan always say? Don't lead with love. You can't lead with love. Second thing I want you to get across is the physical aspect of this is when we do get scared and we've been bit. And by the way, usually if you get bit, you messed up as a human. Gary and I get bit 3 or 4 times a year, and we know we messed up, right? The problem is if you've never been bit before, now you're probably going to be scared. Now here's the problem: when you're scared, now you're going to see the dog. You're going to give off cortisol and adrenaline. These are chemicals that dogs smell, and they know you're scared. By the way, dogs that work with diabetics, that's what they're trained to smell is cortisol, and then they know if you're a diabetic, you're about to go into a coma, right? So they have this protocol.
It's how police dogs track criminals who are running from them.
Right. And number 3, all we're trying to teach humans when they're dealing with dogs is, be confident and be calm. You don't have to be confident really, but you have to sell it to the dog. Because how many people do we meet that we know are sweet people, they're good people, but they're just not confident enough to deal with this dog. And we have to say, you know what, I'm sorry, you're going to get hurt. And then we get a bad review, but that's okay. We kept them off, But especially for first-time dog owners out there, if you're listening, please realize it's totally different than raising a good human being. It's a different skill set. It's not intuitive. I think even though Gary has more experience than me, I think he would admit that even though he was really young, he had to learn. One thing I love about Gary is he observes. and he really is good at breaking things down. I'm assuming that when he was walking dogs at a young age, he learned the hard way probably. Hey, this isn't working.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
those were all puppies. Those were all pet store puppies. So they had no basic training to them.
No.
So yes, no, every dog that I tell everybody, they're like, hey, how do I become a dog trainer? You get out there and you deal with dogs. Every
Right.
dog you deal with, you're going to learn a trick from. Go volunteer at a shelter, go volunteer for a rescue, get out there and deal with dogs, and every dog will teach you something.
Yeah, and then the other advice is also, as Caesar would say, no eye contact, no touch, no talk, and that's the best ic advice I can give. Because when volunteers get bit in our program, it's because they went to pet the dog or they made eye contact, or they were talking in that high voice, "Oh, you're so cute." Like, it's these are things that work on humans, you know?
Yeah.
And when we say no eye contact, we mean you can look at the dog, just don't make direct eye contact. Because we all get freaked out by that. I mean, especially when men in our 20s, if a guy's staring at us, the fight's on. So,
Yes. Yeah, no, I mean, when you're meeting a dog, I do this to every dog that I evaluate, new dog. I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to watch them. I can still see you peripherally, but I'm not going to look at you directly. I'm going to squat down and I'm going to watch you. And
right.
have I had a dog run in and ragdoll me by the forearm when I wasn't watching? Yes, I have.
Huh?
But 99% of the time, that dog was a bad dog.
Yeah.
I came in contact. I was evaluating it for the little red dog actually, and it was a
Right.
dog that ended up we found out was a guard dog for a pot house. So the guy wanted to surrender it at this point. So I went and met him in a park and went and evaluated it. They basically turned this
I
dog into a
remember
guard.
that. I
Yeah,
remember that. Yeah,
yeah,
I remember the phone call.
yeah.
That's not
No, I
I
met
should
that
laugh.
dog, and that was the only time though I can think of where I wasn't even looking directly at the dog, and the dog still ran out and grabbed a hold of me.
Yeah,
99% of the time, we'll go back to the last bite that I had at that virtual adoption event. I won't
yeah,
say the dog's name.
right. Yeah, we were just talking
But
about that. Yeah,
yes, but we were just talking about it. I totally messed up. I had been working with that dog at the vet's office and I
right.
overstated our relationship. And I was like, hey, buddy, came walking in. And when I looked at him and we locked eyes, I knew, oh, God, I just
Yeah.
fucked up. I'm
That's the
about to
other
get
thing.
bit.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. I thought we were going to wrap up, but I think it is very important that we realize just because we saw a dog, over the weekend and now it's Wednesday and some other person's handling the dog, it doesn't mean that we're besties and I can come in like, and that's hard for me. I mess that up all the time. That's a normal human reaction. And at the end of the day, this is what I'm talking about. When you're dealing with dogs, your human instincts are lying to you all the time. This is learned behavior. And this is why some people are naturally good at training dogs or training horses, because it's in line with the way their brain works. But it doesn't mean it's an instinct.
No.
Um, you know, and to be honest with you, gun in my head, would I rather, deal with kids all day or dogs? I personally would rather deal with children. My natural Yeah, I know, Gary, been right, and no right or wrong answer, right? But, I naturally, I get kids, I love their energy, I love the innocence, I find it fascinating, and they always make me laugh, I'm always having a good time, but these instincts that I have, none of them are worth a shit when I'm dealing with a dog. None of them.
Yeah,
No.
no, they're not. They don't overlap. It
No.
overlaps a lot better from a dog behavior onto a kid than kid behavior onto a dog.
Yeah. Well, on that note, one thing I learned about you, you're very honest about your firstborn. That was a sweet story, actually. I find that funny. Anyway, guys, anything to add, Gary, before we sign off?
No, just that, what we said. Dogs live in the moment. So what you
Yes.
need to do is follow their lead. Don't think that you have something all summed up because you dealt with them once or you've dealt with them 100 times. When
Yeah.
you meet them their 101 time, 101st time, it may be different. So
Yeah.
evaluate where the dog's at. Constantly be tuned into what the dog's signs are giving you. Ears back, mouth closed, licking lips, tail tuck. All of those signs are something that you should be definitely watching out for. And if you're getting them, slow your roll.
Yeah. And again, this is all taught learned behavior. It's like going to college. You have to pick up on this shit. You have to study it, and you have to be into studying it. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you guys soon. I know we've been a little erratic on the podcast, but please let us know. Oh, one thing that we're going to start here pretty soon is based on dog training, and it's going to be a subscription service through Patreon. So look for that soon. There's going to be little tidbits of information, either from myself or Gary or PJ, that helps owners, new or intermediate or advanced. Anyway, so be looking for that. Anyway, take care. This is Stephen Gary from the Little Red Dog, and take care. Peace.